Well, hey there guys, it's Flashback Friday. It's February 22nd, and this day in music history, man, there's a lot going on. Check it out. Well, hey there guys, welcome to Rock Hard Riffs. This is the guitar channel for the self-taught, and this is Flashback Friday. It's the last Friday of the month, and as you may or may not know, on the last Friday of the month, on Flashback Friday, we do this day in musical history. And man, we got a lot of it. But first off, we wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of information here and there and stuff about the channel. And first, we wanted to start off with, if you would like to make a request for Flashback Friday, please look for us on Instagram. That's Rock Hard Riffs on Instagram. And just message us and make a request right there. Just say, hey, I'd like to hear blankety blank by blankety blank, and we'll see what we can do. Alright guys, so make sure you message us on Instagram if you want to make a request for Flashback Friday. Okay, another issue I've been dealing with this issue ever since I first started the channel. And that is my audio. The sound of recording my guitars and my amps and all that stuff. And I've questioned several people. Several people have helped me, like GTV, Guitar TV. He says how he places his microphones and stuff, which is a great idea. Also, I had picked the brain of the audio guy at Sam Ash, man, and he schooled me. He took me to task on stuff, and it's like, dude, I'm just out of the loop when it comes to recording and microphones and all that kind of thing. So we're talking about stuff, and he gave me a lot of great info. And what I've been doing, I've been going back and forth between using my little Zoom H4n recorder. It has two little condenser microphones on that, just that. Or I plug in my Shure SM57 into the Zoom and just use that. Or I'll use a combination of the SM57 and the condenser mics, both, and mix that. And I've gone back and forth, trying all kinds of different combinations, two different microphones. I have an old TOA microphone too that I used. But what came down to, it was 2 or 3 different songs or videos that I've recorded with the stuff, and the best audio that, for my ear, that I can hear is the Shure SM57, about 2 to 2.5, maybe to 3 feet away from the cabinet, and that's it. I thought for sure the condensers on the Zoom would be good enough, but it's just a little tinny from my ear, just a little tinny. But the Shure kind of squelches some of that out, and it just sounds, to my ear, as good as I can get so far. So that's what I'm sticking with. And again, I appreciate all the help from the people that have helped us with our audio. Alright guys, it's time to get on with Flashback Friday, this day in musical history. February 22nd, 1956, Elvis Presley enters the charts for the first time with Heartbreak Hotel. Oh, that's not right, is it? No, it isn't. He had been in the country and western charts before. No, this is the first time he had entered the pop charts. So very cool for Elvis with Heartbreak Hotel. Now, if you're aware of the backstory of that song, it was co-written by Hoyt Axton's mother, and the song is about either a suicide or a murder that had occurred, and it was talking about down on Lonely Street. The story was, there are a couple different stories. I'm not going to stick to either one, but it was either about a suicide or a murder. Kind of tragic. Heartbreak Hotel. And this day in history in 1965, the Beatles arrive in the Bahamas to begin shooting of second movie, Help! That's right, Help in 1965. Great movie. First one in color, and they actually did act in that movie. Right on, the Beatles and Help, 1965, shot in Bahamas beginning on this date. Moving on, in this date, in 1968, Genesis released their first single, The Silent Sun. And in 1993, Radiohead releases their first album, Pablo Honey. Now we're going to get on to our feature in 1977. The Eagles released the first single from the album Hotel California, Hotel California. B-side, Pretty Maids, All in a Row. The credits for writing Hotel California, the song, are Don Felder. He is one of my top 5 guitar players of all time. Don Henley and Glenn Frey with the lyrics. There are lots of stories swirling around about Hotel California. Is it evil? Are there hidden meanings in it? You be the judge. I don't particularly care. Actually, I just love the song, and of course I love the music, the guitar playing and all that. Which brings me to this guy. If you are not aware of this movie or documentary, The History of the Eagles, this has been on cable TV and etc. Les Beans and I very soon are going to do an overview of this documentary, The Eagles, The History of the Eagles. So don't miss that. Great stuff. Give us a little comment there, what if you have or have not seen this, and if you're interested in watching us make an overview of this movie. Please let us know, but we're going to make it anyway, but look forward to it. Also, this song was voted to have the best guitar solo by readers of Guitarist in 1998. I'd have to say, boy, that's a pretty darn tough one to argue with. And in 1978, the Record Hotel California won a Grammy for Best Record of the Year. For our second song on Flashback Friday, we're going to throw in the B-side, Pretty Maids All in a Row, to Hotel California. This was primarily written by Joe Walsh, with a lot of help, he said, from Glenn Frey and Don Henley. Joe Walsh, in explaining this song, said, "It is a melancholy reflection of his life up to that point so far." And Joe Walsh was a very successful musician, James Gang, Eagles, on his own, etc. But that's what he had to say about the song Pretty Maids All in a Row. Now, you know, Joe had a lot of alcohol and drug problems. I'd imagine that had a whole lot to do with that. Joe also thought that this would be reflected primarily by people of his generation. And Joe often speaks about his generation and the music of his generation. Interesting points. Also, one last little tidbit about this song. My original ambient song called Serenity was inspired by Pretty Maids All in a Row. I'll link that also in the description. So that's it, guys. Hotel California and Pretty Maids All in a Row on today's Flashback Friday, February 22nd. Tons of stuff happening on this date. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us. Take a look in the playlists to find other Flashback Fridays and other goodies, fun stuff you might want to see. Alright guys, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next Flashback Friday and next video.